Good morning, Instagram. I am trying to be better about my greens. Done. Good morning for those of you who are on the West Coast, and if you are, no, it's still morning if you're on the East Coast. And if you're in Europe or Africa, good evening. Nice to see you guys. Hey, Tracy Annetta Beauty, Sty Mixel, Raina Sunshine MUA, Inzia, Isabel. Hi, Isabel. Coriana Elizabeth Beauty. Hello. Zan Ross Makeup. Ash But What. Hey, Ashley. Nice to see you. Nice to see you guys. Coriana Elizabeth, you're cracking me up. Oh my, that's makeup. Yes, I actually have makeup on today. I don't know why, but I woke up this morning. I have a full day of coaching. I'm doing a VIP day with one of my clients, and it's virtual, so we're going to be doing it online. But I just, didn't want to have to stare at my mug without a little bit of makeup. So, I felt that she's worth it. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Hello, Faces by Del Rio. Zan Ross, makeup. Good morning, Sonia. You always look so fresh. Oh, thanks. I think it's California. I think California just makes me, it's my energy here, it just feels good. Sty Mixel, buenos dias. Buenos dias to you too. Your hair looks great. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's growing. And Isabel says, hey, Sonia, it's 5 p.m. over here. And Isabel is in Paris. She was just at my VIP class a couple of weekends ago already. Geez, time flies. So I wanted to do a live because even though I've been posting a lot, there's just been picture posts because I was on vacation. And thank you guys for the support and the likes and all that stuff. I really had a blast. The VIP masterclass in Paris was so much fun. The group was amazing. I have to tell you, my timing for doing these lives is always hilarious because whenever I decide to do them, it's let me show you. Do you see this guy? So what he does is he takes all the change out of the meters. So it's always really loud. Actually, the heat was pretty good. But anyway, so long story short, just having come back from Paris, it was such an amazing trip. I had such a good time. And I have to tell you, there was moments of the trip where it was a little tough, like self-sabotage. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Do you ever get the feeling that something is so good and you're waiting for something to go wrong? Well, I think when you, oh my God, all the likes and the loves, the hearts for it. Thank you. So you know what I mean. And it's interesting because, we do that and I won't say we, I'll say me. I found that that's something that I do. Like, it's just the fear of, wanting to believe that things are as good, that the shoes, the other shoe's going to drop. And I know that that's something that I have 100% felt within my business, felt within my life. And my pattern in the past has been to find a way to self-sabotage. And we do it all the time. But there's a few times during my trip where I was just like, I was beating myself up, like I should be having more fun. Like, so I'll give you a perfect example. The day after the class, I hosted my class at the Westin, and I wanted to switch over to a boutique hotel. So I had made the arrangements for that, and literally the day after the class was just about getting over to the other hotel. And then there was a part of me that felt really bad for like not going out that day and not doing stuff, but I was so tired. I was jet lagged, and after teaching, I think the class was like almost 10 hours. I was really tired, but also like I couldn't really tell that I was tired. Thank you so much. I could just tell because I was cranky. And I just have this, I get into guilt mode. So I was just like, I should be doing something. I should go somewhere tonight. I should go have a nice dinner. I should go walk around. And I was beating myself up, and I caught it, and I ultimately was just like, hey, you're in a horrible mood today. Horrible, like horrible. So it would do no good for you to be out anyway, because you wouldn't even enjoy it. People wouldn't enjoy being around you. So I kind of just started to like talk myself out of it and just said, you know what, today is literally about just being at this beautiful hotel. And I drank a bunch of champagne in bed. I watched Sex and the City, the movie, and a couple of other great movies, and I just hung out, and I gave myself permission to be tired. But the self-sabotage part was like, you know, the crankiness, and or the forcing of myself to try and do something that I wasn't really ready for. And then there was certain moments in the trip where I just was like, I found myself getting cranky, and it was always that, like, honestly, I was worried about money sometimes, which was like not an issue this time for this trip. It was just old habits coming up, like, so this trip meant a lot to me because I've never had a trip like this before. I've certainly been able to treat myself to luxury vacations before, but the investment in this trip was like double what I'd done, so it was like stretching me. And I don't know if you can relate to this. I know these are quality problems, but the reason I'm sharing them with you is because these are the kinds of problems that I want you to start having. And I am sharing my evolution with you too, because once you start hitting certain, points of quote unquote success, you start to think like, it's easy, like if I had more money, no, it's really not true. And I know that you've heard it before, I've heard it before, and until you actually like are in the experience, you start to realize it's really true, because the money doesn't change the mood, or having access to do something or whatever doesn't change how you feel. So when I planned this trip, this was a trip that I knew that I wanted to do alone. And I don't know, it just felt to me like this was a gift for me and to share with myself. And I don't know if you've ever done vacation by yourself. The first time I did, I went to Hawaii, and honestly, I had a broken heart. And I was like, I just need to get out of here. But if I felt lonely, I felt like, obviously missing the person that I wanted to be with and all that. But it was I'd never done that before. So since then, that was probably like almost 2 years ago. I've had a few other vacations that I've done alone, and like I actually really love traveling by myself. So when the idea of Paris came along, like I didn't tell anybody, I didn't say, hey, do you want to come? Like I really knew that this was supposed to be for just me. And I felt like this trip, a lot of it was about dealing with some of that stuff, some of that internal stuff that came up. So, the crankiness and trying to find reasons why something would go wrong, or, thinking something would happen, or that I would lose my camera, just the dumb stuff that you think about, just getting into the panic mode came up. And I just kept recognizing it and moving through it and just reminding myself, like, no, I deserve to be here. We all deserve to be here. And it's not because I work so hard. It's not any of those things. We deserve happiness. If you can relate to any of this, or even to that last statement of we all deserve happiness, please share some likes and loves with me, because that's what it really is. And what I realize is the more that you start to gain in terms of material possessions and luxuries and things like that, it doesn't change the feeling. If you still feel empty inside for whatever reason, that's still there, and like a trip isn't going to do it. You're still going to be alone with yourself, or a new bag, or a new pair of shoes, or it's not going to do it. So it was just a great reminder to keep doing the work, and then also it was a great moment for me to also see my growth, because a couple of years ago I would have sabotaged it. I would have found a way, and this time I didn't. I felt the idea of it, like the pattern of it, but I didn't do anything. And usually when you sabotage, a lot of times it's subconscious, So it was beautiful. And I have to say, it was lovely to be able to do some of the things that I did. I went to the opera there, and it was so like beautiful and over the top. I went to the Louvre, which was lovely, and then I had I had lunch there. I had lunch in one of the cafes, and I just kind of got bombed, drinking wine, talking to my mom from over there, and that was really fun. I went to a 6-course tasting at this lovely hotel, and the experience of, I've been to tastings before, but this one was just, I went for something really like extravagant. That was so lovely, and the shopping is amazing. So all in all, it was an amazing trip, and I've come back here with a really deeper understanding of, what I'm doing here and what the summer is going to be about for me. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I just posted on my Instagram yesterday that I'm hosting another webinar on Thursday, and I'll tell you why. I'm hosting my webinar on how to create the irresistible offer. I hosted it back in early spring, back in March. And it's time to do it again. So for a couple of reasons. I want to keep doing some webinars that I have that have really impactful information. Number one is a reminder for you. So if you were on it and you want to come on it again, I think it's always worth it because it's going to sound differently, and I have a new perspective anyway. So new information, new point of view. And another part is I want to keep refining my material to make it the best as possible. So I'm going to keep repeating the webinars that I know have really been helping people. The Irresistible Offer webinar was one of those that after I hosted it, I had artists reaching out to me and emailing me saying, hey, thank you so much. I just closed, my first client for double the rate that I'd ever gotten. It was very powerful. But the reason why I'm hosting it now is because it is one of the strategies that I use to get me to Paris. I mentioned on my post yesterday that I didn't go out of pocket not one penny for my trip. I created the cash. And it doesn't matter if for you're creating the cash because you want to go to Paris, or you want to put your kids in private school, or you want a new car, whatever the thing might be, or if it's just you want to pay your bill, like whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The point is to have the strategy when the idea comes. So a really, really important part, I'm going to be talking about this on the webinar, is to have the inspiration, to not start from a place of motivation, which is, my motivation is to make a lot of money. No. My motivation was Paris. Like, I know I need to be in Paris. It felt like I felt it in my heart and my soul, like that was supposed to happen. And then when that inspiration came, the inspiration for the class came, and then the inspiration of how will I fill the class and the type of class that I'm going to have, and all of the ideas started coming, but it all started from the inspiration point first, which was, my heart's telling me I need to go to Paris. So if you were on my Irresistible Offer webinar last time, the material is going to be a little bit different because even from then, it was more motivationally based, and this one is more inspirationally. So it is going to be about like doing the checking in to see like what is it that I really want, what is my heart really telling me, and then having the strategy behind it, so that when you know what it is that you're ready for, you also know you have the tools for it. And then you keep following your guidance to do it. So does that make sense? If it makes sense, I love that I just raised my hand. Give me some likes and some loves on it. And if you haven't registered for the webinar, it's free. Definitely I recommend you coming on. I just have a new perspective. This is what the interesting thing about life is, like, you have a new adventure, and like, I'll be honest with you, like, I know that my sales strategies, like, my shit's really good. It works. Not only for myself but for my clients. But like, it's amazing to add to it just by like living life. Like, this entire process of going to Paris and back and everything that happened to make it happen, it was a huge lesson, and now I'm ready to share it. So if you're on right now and you've registered or you're going to register, comment below. Let me know that you're going to join me, because this is literally how you start to manifest things. It's not how much work you do, how hard you're working and grinding. It's not that. It is about being in the aligned state for it. And then once you have all the tools, like, then it'll occur to you like, hey, I should do this or I should try this. So it's a combination of those two things. So if you haven't already, you can click on the link in my bio to register for the webinar. And I will see you on Thursday. We're going to talk a little bit more about this for sure, because it's a real game changer. And again, for sure, there's no one in the beauty space that is teaching sales from an inspiration standpoint. So the strategies are very different in terms of how to kind of get it going. And I'm excited to share with you. So thank you so much for hopping on. And I hope to see you on the webinar. Okay? I'll see you soon. Bye.